Hey everyone, welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about arguably the biggest mistake I made along my journey to where I am today. And that is gathering too much information, as I call it, information gatherers, humans, and I didn't take enough action. And that's really where uncomfortability really comes from. You know, if you're reading the books in your bed and you're having a lot of shame and guilt, a lot of panic, but you're under your comfy covers or your duvet, whatever you call it in the UK or in Europe, and you know, you're in your pajamas, that's difficult because you can't concentrate, you're forgetting things, but it's not really that hard in the grand scheme of going out there and doing really tough shame attacks or really tough exposures and stuff like that. You need both. Not everyone needs exposures and shame attacks. Most people do. There are certain fear patterns where the exposure is living life itself, like sensory motor. So it's not just, you know, a lot of people forget the nuances. But again, the biggest mistake I made was having too much information in many different ways. I'll give different examples, and not applying the consistent action needed to see long-term change in my life. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below. Let me know what you think about this. Phil at OCDrecovery.com. We work with 70, 80, 90 different countries. I've worked all over the world. We can get translator calls if needed. We work with all time zones. We have people in the company all scattered throughout the globe. So we hit all the different time zones. And when you come to a webinar or a coaching call, you get access to our WhatsApp groups, which are very, very, very detailed and very specific. So let's go to my body dysmorphia. Let's start with that. I had body dysmorphia for almost 20 years. I had it very seriously for about 10 years and severely for about 5. But I still had the same compulsions when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It wasn't as detrimental to my mental health as it was when I was 27, 28, 29, 30, and then 31, 2, and 33 in many ways. So I would gather all this information, whether it was, because it was all about perfection, right? I was looking for the perfect outcome. I want the perfect physique, the perfect body. I had really bad fears of self-rejection. It wasn't so much other rejection. I'm not competitive with other people as nearly as I am with myself. So that was one good thing about how I saw things. Just kind of was raised in my family that wasn't pushed on me in that way. So I didn't grow up with that culturally or in any sort of like environmental sense. But I had really bad beliefs about self-rejection, always needing to do more, always needing to be better, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd gather all this information, and I would have analysis paralysis, and I wouldn't know what to do with it. And over the years, the sensations and urges to solve would get so bad that I would just be stuck in the mud. With sensory motor or any other basic fear patterns I had outside the body dysmorphia one, I read all the books on the reading list numerous times. I read them compulsively. I remember one time I had a really bad spike and I read the first book, Stubbornly Refused. I read it in like 3 days. And I got to the end of the book and I thought to myself, you know all this information, what are you doing? But it felt so real at the time, I didn't know any other way. And that held me back quite a bit. So I had to get to a place where I said to myself, okay, I know what I need to do going forward. Now, how do I apply the action needed to get to where I want to go? So Erica, some of you will know the workout. It's not really a workout program. It's a whole lifestyle thing called 75 Hard. Andy Frizzler, who owns First Form, invented it. My wife, this will be the second year she's done it. It was really helping her in the time where she just felt like she was in a rut. I don't do the whole thing. So this year it's day 2 because it's January 2nd right now. I'm doing 75 days, no caffeine. Yeah. 75 days, no cigars. And 75 days, no alcohol. I probably have a couple beers a week, which I did that last year, so it won't be that hard. Cigars, I really do like cigars, so that will be slightly difficult, and the caffeine will be more than likely annoying. So, but I feel pretty good for not having caffeine for 48 hours now. I don't really get withdrawal symptoms, even though I drink like 600 to 800 milligrams a day on average. So it's nice. When I reintroduce it, I might just have my pre-work and then not have any coffee for a while and just kind of see. I do all the other stuff like reading 10 pages a day. But anyway, the reason why I do that is to challenge myself. But the problem is I wouldn't be able to make up my mind on stuff like this. So I would never stay consistent. So I would start something and then change it. Start something and then change it. So like now when I set myself up with a goal, for an example, I just go for it, regardless of what my body's saying. Oh, you might be making the wrong choice or something like that. Sticking with something for an extended period of time is much more important for me than what I'm actually doing. So then I just put my 2024 one away. So this is my goal book for next year, and these are just the 4 things I have written for my yearly goals. So continue with this workout program I'm going to do all year, so which is good, which is difficult because I brought my lifting back to 3 days a week. I went for years for 5 days, but I wanted a little bit more time for myself. And then enjoying the process of work life, and then don't have to be so focused on numbers. Numbers are important. And then continue working on phone balance, because I'm on my phone all the time for work, so I wanted to work on that. And then the 75 hard thing I just talked about. And I just write it down. So just one page like that. And then the thing is, you could never write anything down, ever, which I wouldn't recommend, but you can do that. And you could have really good application over a long period of time. Like, let's say you don't have to write anything down on paper, and you say, I want to do 30 days of really tough shame attacks. And you put a sticky note on your desk, like I have multiple sticky notes, and you just put day 1, this is what I'm going to do. Day 2, this is what I'm going to do. And you just do it. That's a lot better than someone that's going to analyze there. And I don't mean the automatic component when your brain's throwing automatic intrusive thoughts, images, sensation, urges. I'm just talking about how you're applying what needs to be done. And that's more than likely the most important thing of OCD and anxiety recovery, because you could have all the information about unconditional self-life, other acceptance. You could have read the books. But if you don't apply that information over an extended period of time, you're not really going to really achieve much, if anything. And I would just call it the ping pong theory. I make a decision, bounce back and forth, go this way, make a decision, bounce back and forth and go that way, this and that. So, and the amount of people I've been working with for a year, year and a half, and that's why I have the compassion that I do. I don't get angry at people. They usually get more angry at themselves. They're like, I feel like either I'm failing you or I'm so stupid. Hey, it's okay, man. I didn't stop some of my body dysmorphia compulsions for 3 years. I wouldn't recommend that. I don't mean like, oh, well, I'll just take my foot completely off the gas. But, OCD suffering is really difficult. It's a very, very difficult disorder. It's one of the worst mental health disorders known to mankind. So it's not going to come easy. So building that muscle, you have to look at it like a skill. So think about what you want to do this year that's different from last year. Jim Rohn said it best. It wasn't just Jim Rohn, many people. Jim Rohn was Tony Robbins' mentor. He was great. There's some great videos on YouTube about him. My favorite is the 1981. If you type in Jim Rohn, it's the 2-hour one. It's in color from Anaheim, California. I watch that once a year. Incredible. If you want the next 5 years to look different than the last 5 years, something has to change. So for you, if that is, you have all the information needed, now it's about applying that information over an extended period of time without any expectations on how you feel. So like when I'm doing the 75 hard thing, right? No caffeine, no cigars, no alcohol, the reading, everything like that, a little bit more cardio. I have no expectations on how that's going to go. I just show up and get it done. And that is really, really important. So really think about where you're lacking in execution, because the world's really weird on IQ. You could be the smartest intellect ever. But if you're always stuck in analysis paralysis, you're not actually going to achieve much. But the people that do a lot in their life, whether it's with their marriage, being around their children, starting a business, their career, OCD and anxiety recovery, improving communication skills, these are actionable things that need to get done over and over and over and over again. So thank you again, Phil at OCDrecovery.com. Hope to hear from you soon. Please don't sit in silence. We can help you, and hope to hear from you soon. Have a good one, everyone.